My name is Nader Talebzadeh. I'm talking to you from Tehran. It's an honor to be on your webinar. I'm going to divide my discussion in two parts. The first part is I'm going to tell you that I've been in Bosnia during the war. I've been to Gorazde under siege in 1992. I came with a crew of Iranian filmmakers to Bosnia when it was under siege. I witnessed how Iran had brought weapons with the consent of the West, with the knowledge that the West knew about it, into Bosnia, and I witnessed how it was moved from Visoko to Gorazde with about 50, 60 young men taking Iranian RPG-7s into the enclave Gorazde, which saved Gorazde basically. Gorazde was under siege, about 300,000 people living there. All the surrounding villagers were there. Nobody could come in, nobody could go out of Gorazde. And I managed to talk to the mayor of the city, to the people of the city under siege. The siege was broken when the Iranian weapons were used. The third day, the siege went from 100 meters, in which the snipers were shooting the people in the city, to 12 kilometers. It opened. They shot 3 or 4 tanks, and it moved out. So I witnessed part of your history that many of you are not aware of. That was a 10-part series that Iran broadcast at that time, called The Dagger and the Anemone. Okay. What happened in 1992 in September when we were there? The trend continues. I mean, the fact that the world is watching a crime and is careless about it. I saw the UN tanks and jeeps outside of Gorazde doing nothing. They didn't bring any of the wounded out of Gorazde. They didn't take any medicine and food into Gorazde. Gorazde was under siege. And we had to walk about 10 hours at night through the jungles of Gerabak. And I had a wonderful time recording the resistance of the Bosnian Muslims. And I talked to a lot of people about what was happening. It was a series that began in Zagreb. It went into Split, went to Visoko, then it went into Srebrenica and the periphery of Sarajevo, and then finally I was asked to go into Gorazde with these young men who were taking in Iranian weapons. Iran was the only country in the world in 1992 that brought weapons for the Bosnian Muslims, and I recorded that. So this is the first part of my talk, because many people who come talk have never had an experience with the Bosnian people, but I had the honor and the privilege to be with the Bosnian Muslims at a time of great, very high temperatures and great passions. And Gorazde survived. Unfortunately, Srebrenica did not survive. Soon after that, we saw what happened, and the UN watching the whole thing. A little bit of history for you, and this 10-part series is one of the honors that I had of having the privilege to record that part of history. We were the only people who went into Gorazde. Nobody from the West or the East went there to witness that siege, that atrocity of the whole world watching an entire city under siege. Snipers were hitting at the citizens, and when we brought in the RPGs, I think we brought about 50 RPG-7s that Iran had produced, the Revolutionary Guard had produced, and they had brought it with planes into Zagreb, and from Zagreb they had taken into Split, and from Split into Visoko, and from Visoko, with a couple of trucks, they moved it to the jungles of Gerabak. And from Gerabak, these young men would put it on their back, and they would just start walking the Trail of Death, the famous path called the Trail of Death. And we joined them, and so we entered the enclave. So this is the first part of my talk. My second part of my talk comes out of Goražde and comes out of Bosnia, comes to the present, and this is what our host, Mr. Abedpour, asked me to talk about. How did America, my topic is this, how did America end up with this present president, President Trump? The reason, and I say this in a few minutes because I don't have that much time to talk, the reason that the United States today has a president as maniacal, as crazy as Trump is because of 9/11 and what led to 9/11 and the lie that happened after 9/11, the huge lie. You see, when 9/11 happened, immediately they went and took over Afghanistan. The United States took over Afghanistan. In a couple of years, it attacked Iraq on the pretense that Saddam held weapons of mass destruction. Okay, continuing on that note, when it was discovered that Saddam indeed did not have weapons of mass destruction, and it was a lie that the Bush administration projected, and everybody admitted. I mean, Colin Powell, General Colin Powell, who was the Secretary of State, later admitted that this was, I'm very sorry, I lied about that. This was architected by Dick Cheney and the deep state. So what happened afterwards, America lost a lot of faith to its own people. The people of America became very, they couldn't believe they lived in a country that instead of a democracy, you had a hypocrisy, that it was a lying entity. So they had to bring up that image back again. So they had a deep brainstorming. They came up with the idea, now we need a president to restore the image of America, the land of dreams, the land of opportunities. So they had two candidates, a black candidate and a woman candidate, Obama and Hillary Clinton. Well, Obama won. Obama won, and he never wanted to be a president. They just put him there. Obama couldn't even be a congressman. They put him there as a senator, and he won because they controlled the votes, so that they would talk a lot about him on the press. So he became, in 6 months he was the senator. They wanted him to become a presidential candidate. There's many stories and many books about this, how Obama was a concocted president. Well, okay, he became president for 8 years, and what happened, he was the last president that was controlled. What happened afterwards, and the mess that was America through the years, because of the perpetual lyings, is a man came into the White House that is absolutely a wild card, a man who possesses great wealth, and today America is stuck with it. My greetings to the great people of Bosnia. I love these people when I saw them. They're very different than any Europeans I had seen, and great hosts, great passionate people, great defense. And I conclude my small talk for your webinar with the fact that I always have such pleasant memories of these wonderful, beautiful people of Bosnia, and God bless you all. I hope to be back one day to re-see all those men that I interviewed, men and women that I interviewed at that time of high crisis. So take care.